Just to be the guy that breaks the ice.
Good. Thank you.
One of the things David Gray, World Bank, one of the things we've loved about working with you over the last year and a bit is that you're very responsive to our requests. And I almost wondered how you managed to pull that off for everybody else as well, but you have. What are the implications for that world in this CXP? Is there a risk of you guys becoming massively corporate and we never get, Jake gets replaced by an AI and stuff like that? Is that a risk for us? Be honest about that,
So yeah, there's a few questions to unpack. First of all, happy to hear that that we're servicing you so well. That is totally up to the team that is here mainly. We flew in some people, and some people live here. Some of our team is based in Brazil or India. They're unfortunately not here today, but so yeah, we work very hard because we want to be not just a tech company, but we really care about your missions, and we consider ourselves mission-driven in that sense. And I think that is in our DNA and that's in our bones. And even though we talked a lot about technology today, because it had to happen, so it was quite heavy, that's why we'll also have a lighter program later today. But that is in our DNA, and I don't think that is changing, because I think what drives us is the real-world impact that we're making. And we would get bored if this were just a repetitive out-of-the-box thing. So that is not who we are, and that's not what we attract in staff. And I think that's what you're sensing, that we actually really care about your mission and your systems and your complex IT infrastructure. And Morris is going to tell you about IATA today. Yeah, it was a massive, complex project, but we don't run away from it. We love that, right? And that will not change. If you have the feeling that we're changing, then me and Bram are here, and tell us. We're Dutch, we're very open to criticism, but yeah, we'll not do that. There is of course a risk. We are introducing new technology. There's training on our staff, on our customer success managers. What does this do? How do we integrate this? How do we deal with support tickets? This is a big step up from going from one box solution towards an wider ecosystem. But I think you have the feeling what we're trying to do is opening up our system, whether it's Zapier, that is a no-code solution where you can say, add it to my MailChimp newsletter or put it in Slack so I can do something with it, or put it in a spreadsheet. We're opening up Open Social, whether that's through APIs or Zapier or working with AI. It's a big step, but we also feel it's a necessary step, and we're doing something that the industry should be doing, instead of building very small siloed communities that sometimes struggle. So we're always up for 8 years, after 8 years, to do something a bit radical that is a little bit scary, but that also keeps us going. So yeah. Anything to add?
No, happy to have you, and happy to service you.
Yeah, and happy to have you here. Yeah, it's great.
Thank
we meet
you.
in person. Thank you
I
all
hope
for
that
coming.
answers your question. Next, any other questions? Yes.
Thank you. So this is Nina from UNDP. I think one of the slides mentioned communication. And as you are launching this whole new thing, I think that is a key. From customer perspective, I think for us it's really important to understand what this looks like in our own experiences, but also like what are some of the case studies that happens. This is something that I think is missing a little bit in terms of like what is happening somewhere else in Greenpeace or in European Union, where we can look at that and see how we can adapt that to our circumstances. And I've had conversation. I think we've had a conversation in terms of like what works for us and how could that be replicated somewhere else. But I would just ask if you could please work on that communication component part of it, because I think that is going to be key, especially for people like me who is not technology, but more of a business developer. That is needed for me to be able to then take it and then adapt it and sell it internally to our colleagues.
Noted. And I think in 22, the tech world changed. We also had to change, scale down as a company, because the free money was not there anymore. Like, we had to make a profit. And then in 23, we really worked on the foundation of the company. And in 24, we're going outwards again. We're profitable. We're in a good, stable state. We're hiring again. So that also gives us the opportunity to now present this today. We've been quite heads down. It was quite a lot of work last years even to come up to this vision. But now today we're taking the first step and collaborating with you, and also in terms of webinars or things like that, very much open to give that extra attention. So thanks for mentioning, Nina, and great to have you here today.
Yeah, and I think like one of the things that we're working on as well, like maybe you're going to share a bit about this, but also working on like a more hands-on handbook of what like how we can use open social. And I think like it's really great to see like so many different organizations and people here, and we can share also this knowledge between each other, right? I think that is the goal of also what we're trying to achieve here is like bring the knowledge and connect to each other. So I agree, like communication, we need to take a step up there, and we're really happy to also be servicing that. Yeah.
Thank you. And it is true. It will be a topic later. Yes.
Yeah, very concrete question. Maybe I missed it. Sorry for that. Do you plan also to increase the number of insights that we can have on the way that users, members of communities are using the platform?
Yes. So one of the things that we're, and it's not in our slides, correct? So that is, it's in this discovery phase right now, but we're trying to understand like, hey, what are the different things that we need to do? Like core component here is also that we have like these events that we're triggering. Like we have all these different unique events that are already present in open social to some degree. And all of that is super useful information because it allows you to understand like, hey, what is one single user doing and what is their journey throughout the platform? What are their engagement levels? We don't have such a sophisticated analytics tool in open social. So we are exploring now actually like what kind of like analytics tools are out there that can consume the data that we're exposing through this event-driven architecture. So for example, like we're looking at Apache Superset, which is also a very well known between quotation marks open source analytics tools that can consume this data and you can build your own reports on that. So those are typically like BI reports. What I think is also super interesting is exposing these events through webhooks, for example, as well. So that's something that we're working on concretely right now, to be able to push that into your own data lake or own software, own analytics tools. So you can already start doing this without having to wait for us. Because I think like we are still working on that. We're doing the discovery phase internally now, but we don't have any date on this right now. So we're working on exposing these events, and we'll be able to release that in the coming period. Also really happy to talk about but also really happy to talk about that because I think like the events that we're now implementing, like they're a subset, right? So there are some core ones, but we are going to be able to add much more to that too. So if you have use cases, things like that we can look at, like, but I'd be very happy to hear that.
Yeah, maybe as a background, we started working with a tool called Pendo to track everything on the platform, and that is a good tool. Except we have quite big platforms, and they're all a little bit different in their setup, and that meant we had to go to a higher plan. And then with everything that's happening on our platforms, the bill was just impossible for us to pay. So that gave us actually really good data. We had to get off the starter plan and become like a real user, and it was just too much for us. So now we are going back to the foundation. We're rebuilding this architecture. It's quite a big thing, and on top of that, we can build a new analytics tools that will be open source because we learned our lesson again.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I think like there we like any tool that we're using, like we have so many data, or you have so many data and events going on, like they're all typically usage-based pricing, and like we're always going into like super expensive tooling. So I think there like we learned our lesson, like we need to go into open source tooling just like we're doing ourselves.
So the short answer is yes.
Soon. Thanks.
Oh, we have a question. Yeah.
Hi. Thank you. Manuela from WAGS. So right now you invest quite a lot in developing features that are part of the community engagement system, and we use a lot of them. having more products in terms of keeping investing in the product that you already have, what is the risk of spreading thin?
Excellent question. There is always a risk because, like, what is your prioritization? What's your focus? But we are, like Taco said, like we are coming from having to scale down. And we're now also expanding again. So with launching new products, also comes new hiring to make sure that we can still service new features, improvements, bug fixes, all of that within the existing products. I think the focus will not shift of those away. But we're primarily going to be also launching this next to what we're doing already. And that also took quite some preparation in order to be able to do this. So that's why we've been thinking and talking about launching the CXP for, I think internally for a long time already, and how we can do that. So yeah, I think I'm pretty confident that we can reassure you that we'll still be working on that for, as we're doing right now. Yeah.
Yeah, so for example, Mautic, the marketing automation, it's very well established with Drupal already. It's actually owned by Acquia, the commercial company of Drupal. So it's not completely out of the box and there's a lot of knowledge. One of the lessons learned is that we will stay much more to the core functionalities and not try to customize that too much because there's already a lot out of the box. So let's first work with that and not try to do our own things on top of that. Learn the lessons, and from then on, we'll start optimizing and contributing back to the open source ecosystems. But we will take it a bit slower than normal. So maybe if you come with us, like, yeah, we love this, but we want to customize, then we might say like no. Unless there's like a really good reason for it. So that's one of the lessons learned. We'll take it slow, and we'll make sure that these programs are not just set up, but also maintained. And that's also why we're not launching 4 products this year, but only 2.
Yeah, last question. Oh, there's so many.
Okay. Are we on time?
We're going to go here and then...
Well, let's do questions.
Yes, Philippe de Beer from the European Commission. So first, we're happy to work together with you. It's important for us to have a product that complies with some EU regulations like personal data protection with a good security. Interesting to see that the product is evolving internally, but also at feature level. And I believe we as customer, we need to have a reflection on how this product fits in our enterprise architecture. And in that context, having some use case coming from other customers is certainly a good input to position the product in our full architecture at the level of our systems. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yes.
Eric Ballerson from the Education and Culture Executive Agency, European Commission. First of all, I would also reiterate the flexibility we get. We work with Jamila a lot, and for us it's very important because we have several players in the Commission, so even within our organization it's a complex structure and we need to communicate very openly, so the support, the direct support for us is very important. So thank you very much, and please keep it like that. Also, I just want to say analytics is also important for us because we work with contractors and we have KPIs, and currently we have to use Google Analytics to sort that out. So that if it were inherent to Open Social, that would be extremely helpful and much more useful than having to use Google Analytics for that. So if we can discuss that. We have concrete use cases, what we would be looking for, and we are very happy to share that. And finally, I want to come back to the use cases from a business user point of view, because I'm also a business user. And for a future event, I would like to propose a participatory workshop. There are a lot of very interesting people here, and it would be nice if we had a participatory workshop where we can engage more directly in network and actually talk to each other about concrete use cases and to find out what's in the room and what the different practices are. If you need some ideas about that, I'm a participatory coach at the Commission and happy to share that as well. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll probably do a survey for a 2-day event for next year. Yeah, so that's a good idea. We got that feedback. We are expanding the team also in the marketing and support efforts to be able to run events that are getting bigger. It's the second time now. So yeah, I'd love to explore that.
Thank you. Yes. Sorry, I did not forget you.
Hi, John Franklin from EASA, the European Aviation Safety Agency.
Hi, John.
So,
Hi.
Particularly reiterate this, the collaboration. We have a particular challenge because we're using it as an industry platform that, depending on whether it's private aviation or commercial industry, our industry partners just suck themselves back into Facebook groups and LinkedIn groups the whole time, and kind of understanding how other people solve challenges like that and how we deal that certainly would be really useful for us.
Yeah, so we hope to be sharing some strategies today about what's working and what is not working. For me, key is that it needs to be a strategic decision from leadership that we are building this community. It is going to take a multi-year effort, and all the efforts we're doing has to be around that. And as soon as you say we're going to do this and this and this and this, you're spreading thin. So it needs to be a strategic effort. On the other hand, we understand your community might also live on Facebook, so let's also find a way to interact with them there. And map out the user journey. Where do we want to interact with them at first? And where would we want to ideally interact with them? And what are the journeys towards that? And how can we automate and optimize towards that? So yeah, we're not blind for it. It should be strategic, but we're not blind for reality either. And I think the CXP is tapping into that philosophy. Yeah, and great to have you here as well.
Thank you. Last question.
I'm going to be brief. Hi, Isa. I'm from the UN Trust Fund, and I'm Shine Hub manager. And just evoking what was said by some of us here today about the possibility of sharing what we do with other platforms as well, and to see how people operate. We had the great opportunity to collaborate with Nina on SparkBlue and learn from them. And recently, I also kind of ventured in other platforms from you guys. So if you saw an odd profile that is a little bit outside of your target audience, it was me. So just a way to learn from others. It has been great, but it's also very time consuming. So I thought maybe not only having a 2-day summit in the future, but maybe, I don't know, online community cafes that maybe we can exchange some knowledge may be nice as well. And actually my question is, could you share a more detailed timeline about your, I don't know, because you said these new activities is looking at 2032, but I'm already thirsty to, trying to pilot some of these stuff, especially engagement automation. So when you guys are really thinking about starting things already, and when we can start piloting things with you?
Yeah, good question. So they are started. To reiterate, the AI will be in Q3, so next quarter ready. And in Q4, we're timing engagement automation. We are looking for pilot customers that are willing to spend a little bit more time with us to indeed understand which of the 200 events do we want to start with. So if you want to sign up for the pilot, then we can start testing this earlier. And indeed, some of you are a bit more like, I want it now and let's pilot. And other ones, as European Commission, totally understandable. They'd like to see some cases first that it works and it's secure and safe, and then they can implement it. And that's totally fine too. So if there's any first movers, I love to do the discovery and the implementation. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. Clap to you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.